Hello, all my beautiful people. It is time once again for another amazing episode of If You Give a Dad a Podcast. So this week I have with me Charlie Berry. He is a country music singer, and I am very excited to have him on this week. I had a really good time talking with him, and I think that you guys are really going to enjoy this conversation that I have with him. He's a very down-to-earth guy, and I look forward to seeing where his music goes because being completely honest, and you'll hear me say this in the interview, I don't know how he's not being played on the radio yet because he is very good at what he does. I feel this was an excellent interview with an excellent person. So if you are tuning in just to hear the Charlie Berry episode, welcome. I hope you enjoy what you hear, and I hope that you stick around and enjoy some of the other episodes that we have here as well. So, if you guys are as excited as I am, then let's get this show on the road.
If You Give a Dad a Podcast. Hey, Dad.
Get back in your car! Go! Get out of here! You can't be here!
I wasn't about to call you Dad, so.
Seriously?
Just for the work rate, brother.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she said he looked like an old piece of leather.
Wow.
Supernatural, which is by far one of my favorite shows, and I will be talking a lot about Supernatural. I will be quoting Supernatural.
Bro.
I just remember because they also, everybody, whenever they came to the ring, goes, ooh, 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 ooh. What? Okay, before I get started, you ever had a design in mind and you wanted to put it on a shirt or a hat or a cup, but you just didn't know who to go to? Well, come on over to R&L Designs, where they make all of your custom needs come true. They make custom hats, they make custom shirts, they make custom mugs, they even do the tumblers and the glass mugs as well. They do key fobs even. They have great prices and they have a reasonable turnaround time. If you need anything custom, these are the people that you need to hit up today. You can find them on Facebook, and that is at R&L Designs. You can also find them on Instagram at R&L Designs 19. They have a Facebook page. They have an Instagram page. They update it regularly with new products. You can also message them if you have something in mind. Hit them up today for all of your custom needs. Give them a like, give them a follow. All right, everybody. So today I have with me Charlie Berry. He is a Nashville-based artist who recently released a single in 2021 for the first time. And he produces his own music, and he's doing awesome. I have yet to find a song of his that I don't like. And as I've told you guys before, me and my wife have both been jamming out to his music, and now I have the opportunity to talk to him tonight. Charlie, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Do you always do these interviews with your shirt off?
Well, when it gets hot, out here, so.
Or is that just for me?
That's just for you, yeah. Oh, so, I do this in the garage, and so most of the time I don't do the video because of the fact that it gets really hot out here, and I don't think people want to see me.
Did I actually catch you in a moment? Is it for everybody listening? I can't actually see him, so I actually have no idea.
This is actually one of the times that I haven't, because it's only been like 70 degrees here today, so okay, it's been cool. Actually nice and cool. So I have been able to keep my shirt on today. So it is funny that you did say that, because most of the time I'm not wearing one, and I always panic when people first come on the show and they have their video up, and I'm like, oh my God, can they see me? You know.
Yeah. Yes.
But that's pretty funny. I have listened to, I think, every single one of your songs that you have put out on Spotify.
Wow, thanks.
And yeah, I have to say, I do believe you are probably one of the next big things that are coming out of Nashville. Your sound is very on point, and I love everything that I'm hearing from you.
Thanks, man. I hope you're right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to it. It's been fun to get back to being an artist after a couple years of focusing on songwriting. Like you said, I put out a song in 2021 for the first time. That's not the last time I put out a song. I put out, I think,
Right.
8 now, with the latest one being a song called "It's Still Here."
Yes.
I'm really proud of everything I've put out so far, and I think I've got a lot more that I want to share too. So I'm excited about what's next as well.
Well, I'm definitely excited to hear what you have coming out next. If I do say so, my favorite song is "Be Somebody."
I think it might be my favorite too, if I'm
Is
honest.
it?
Yeah, yeah, it's
It's a.
fun, man.
It is very
It's a lot of
fun.
fun, and I needed that,
Hmm.
in the repertoire. I needed a fun one, and that song got written. I booked the show in Chicago last December,
Hmm.
and as I was gathering my songs together, I realized how serious they were, and I was like, well, I'm not a I'm serious about having fun too, but I'm not I like to be lighthearted as well, and it's like that's not represented at all.
Yeah.
And so I just sat down to write. It was like something fun and lighthearted that I would want to hear
Hmm.
at a bar, and that's what came out.
Well, man, it was spot on. I think that's the first song that I listened to of yours because I started listening to your music maybe a few months before your newest song came out, and I was like, this sounds like something you would hear on the mainstream radio everywhere. And I'm like, why isn't it being played everywhere? People need to hear this song. So I really, like I said before, I really do feel that you are on the verge of just busting through and getting that song heard everywhere. And it is a lot of fun, like you said.
Thanks, man. That's really encouraging.
So how did you actually get into to playing music?
Yeah, my dad was in a cover band. My
Okay.
mom plays guitar.
Okay.
Um, and I think I'd been asking for a guitar for a couple years, and finally it got one in the 5th grade, and kind of never looked back. I played football and I played guitar, and that was kind of it. So when football ended, it was like I knew where I was headed.
Yeah.
There have been lots of little confirming moments along the way of like, maybe I'm on the right path here. But yeah, the beginning was probably watching my dad sing and dance around on stage in a cover band, and we kind of look at our dads as our example of what to become and how to make your way through the world. And honestly, I just thought, when you grow up, you go find a microphone and you get loud.
That's awesome. So would you say that you use your dad as a lot for your inspiration?
I think you know I don't know if he's like a muse. He's not like
Hmm.
a muse for me. It's not like he inspires my songs, but I
Right.
think just my day-to-day life. And my dad passed away in 2020, but I always have and still do kind of look to his example as uh how to be a good man in a cold, cruel world.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a little dramatic, but that's what I came up with.
Well, I mean, it's even if it is, I mean, it's the truth. This
Yeah,
world isn't always the greatest and stuff, and it's nice to have somebody that you can look up to try to pattern yourself after.
that's right. Very, very lucky in that sense.
Yeah, and I'm myself. I'm glad that I'm able to do that, even now as being a dad myself, and I know that you
Yep,
are a father as well. So we
I
both
am.
try to emulate that and be that for our children.
Yep.
So I was reading some of your some stuff that I found on you and everything, and I read that you actually used to play punk rock music.
Yeah. Yeah, I still do time to time.
Do you?
I do. Yeah, it's like music when your hobby becomes your job, you got to find something else, and so whenever I started being a professional, country singer,
Hmm.
uh that other genres kind of became my hobby,
Right.
so I'm definitely happy with with the music I'm creating now and putting out as a solo artist, and when I'm needing to kind of have a reset creatively, I'll jump in and try to write something that's, from a different genre. So I got a little folder on my computer of more recent punk rock stuff, but I did grow up uh playing that stuff. I love the energy of that music, and again, it's fun.
Yes.
I still use elements that of that kind of music uh in the stuff that I'm putting out now.
That's awesome. I mean, I always think it's fun whenever you can use those because, I mean, it's your music. You do what you want to with it, and
Right.
being able to add in other aspects in there is really cool. I had a guest on recently who makes hard rock and metal music for children, and it's
Wow, what a niche.
I know it was so cool though. I actually
Yeah,
got to play a few of his songs on here, and he was talking about. I don't know if you've ever heard of the band Mastodon.
sure. Yeah, that's a great band.
Well, they had some. He was talking about how they used banjo type of picking in some of their music, and it's cool to be able to see, how you said that you are using aspects of other types of music in your own. It's cool to see it on the flip side as well, seeing that they're able to use that on, a hard rock kind of music as well. It's interesting, and I love how it just all connects.
It's interesting to me. It's kind of like all the music grew out of country music and gospel music and all of that. All the rock
Yes.
and roll and stuff, and rhythm and blues and all that stuff. So
Hmm.
it's kind of like, the way I look at it, everybody's got aspects of country. It's like,
Yeah.
especially in any kind of guitar rock or whatever.
Hmm.
That's kind of how I backed my way into country. Hearing Leonard Skinner for the first time
Hmm.
uh, in fourth grade, and thinking, I got to get a guitar and I got to try to do that. Um, uh, and it's Southern, and it has that kind of twangy rock guitar thing, and that's where I started for sure.
That's cool. So, talking about that, what are some of your actual? Who do you find inspiration? What kind of music do you mostly find most of your inspiration from? Is there anybody that you try to maybe pattern some of yours after?
I think first of all, I'm really a song centered person. I
Okay.
love I love songs, love a great melody, love somebody with an actual point of view with something to say, and so I pull from everywhere. The whole genre thing doesn't um I don't get really caught up in that. So, but anyway, to answer your question, pattern myself after, some of the greats like Springsteen,
Hmm.
uh Fleetwood Mac, Jackson Brown, Blink 182. Yeah, it's done a little weird on that list, but
Oh,
that's true.
I love
Um,
it.
yeah, and then Skinnerd and Allman Brothers and Bonnie Raitt,
Hmm.
Don Henley.
That's cool, man.
Yeah,
It's awesome that you're able to bring that aspect into it. I did see something today. This is kind of off subject, but it's really not. You talking about Blink 182, and there's been two bands that have. Blink 182 is always going to be one of my favorite punk rock musics or punk rock bands that there is.
yeah,
But another one that a lot of people like is My Chemical Romance. And that's more of like an emo style music, but they said
yeah,
that a reunion for Blink 182 would be better than a reunion for My Chemical Romance. And I think I tend to agree with that.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. I don't want to say, they've still got it going on. They
They
still
do.
have, so I don't want to talk bad about something that's currently happening, but
No, no,
but
no.
I do miss the old days now and then of the old lineup. That was.
Yeah. I
So we'll see what happens. That would be fun, but I don't know if it'll ever happen.
yeah. I mean, you can always just hope and wish that something like that will happen. Just for
Yeah,
nostalgia purposes, if anything.
for sure.
I've the one thing with my daughter is she is my musical kid, And so I've been able to pass down a lot of my musical taste to her. And so I'll have my playlists going, and a lot of times she loves the things that I'm playing. So I'm very proud that I'm able to give that part to her.
Yeah, that's a fun thing to share. I
Yeah.
think that obviously the artists and bands that I mentioned are they were, I grew up listening to them, and so
Hmm.
much of finding the music we love is about the familiar, nostalgic kind of feeling, and honestly, just the number of times you've heard it is probably the biggest influence on whether you like something or not.
Yeah.
Kind of disappointingly, but if you hear something 4 or 5 times, you end up liking it a little bit, and I think all of that stuff is stuff that I grew up hearing. So that's definitely a thing. Having musical taste passed down.
Yes. I know you write of all of your own music, correct?
Yeah, I write or co-write it, but
Okay.
I'm involved in all the writing at this point,
Okay.
which I like.
You do like that?
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
It's I think my favorite part of doing what I do is performing on stage.
Hmm.
I think even when I'm writing, I'm trying to write something that is going to translate there. I actually think of that more than I think about somebody hearing it recorded.
Hmm.
Um, when I am producing a song, I'm imagining myself on stage in an arena and also in the audience in an arena, and what's going to move me, what color lights are going to be happening, all that stuff. But so performer probably is first, and then producing and writing is, yeah, I love it. It's a great part of the creative process for me.
That's cool.
One of the few collaborative parts of the creative process for me. I tend to, through the years, I've kind of been able to pick up a bunch of different skills and from people and learning them, and so things that used to be collaborative are now uh kind of isolating. It's just me,
Yeah.
doing the production and doing the uh all that stuff. And so uh getting in a room with people and writing a song is it's always good. It's always good to collaborate.
Yeah. Who are some of the people that you've collaborated with? Anybody that's well known?
Gosh, I've been in town a while, and I've written with a lot of great people, Liz Rose, Jeff Middleton, the Warren brothers, Scooter Caruso. Those were some of my best, most fun writes.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I've gotten to be in the room with some really great writers, and you know, almost without fail,
Hmm.
you get the reason why they have the reputation and why they've had so many hit songs. It's like, wow, some people are just really good at this.
Yeah.
It's like okay, it's not all politics. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like there are some people that are really genuinely better at this than other people, and
Right.
so it's been fun the times that I get to be in the room with those great writers, and I learn so much
Hmm.
watching them in their craft and how they think of a song and pull ideas together. Um, that's one of the coolest parts of it to me.
That's cool. Yeah. I mean, I know I've been in bands myself. I grew up around music. I'm a pastor's son, so I grew up around playing music in church and stuff like that. And I'm a
Yeah.
drummer and a bass guitar player, and I've been in a few bands and stuff. And my favorite part was always collaborating. As we were going, saying, "Oh, well, how about we do this here in the music?"
Yeah.
Or I love that part, the creative side, where you can just kind of mix things together, and then you have that whole thing at the end and be like, "Here's what we created," and present it to people.
Yeah. I had this funny thought the other day. I was watching a movie, and
Hmm.
you just think they could have made it look any way, and they
Hmm.
chose what I'm looking at. They chose
Right.
that, and it's kind of a weird, so simple, it's kind of stupid thought, but it is profound to think it could sound like anything.
Right.
you know all of these were choices, and they're all choices made based on a feeling we're trying to communicate, and yeah, it's wild. It's more about narrowing it down than trying to expand it and find something.
Yeah. what would you say that when you're writing a song, what is the process that you actually that you go through whenever you're writing a song yourself?
There's probably two answers to that. One is you go through, wow, that's a great idea. Then you write a little bit and you're like, hey, this could be good. And then you're like, wow, this is horrible. Who the hell did I think I was to think I could do this? And then you probably have lunch and you're like, you know what? I'm going to give it another shot. And then it's like, hey, this is pretty good. So that's the roller coaster of emotions that you go through. But as far as like actually writing, I'm kind of always looking for song ideas for things that I think everybody has. I don't know, maybe they don't. I don't know. This little kind of bell that rings when you hear something that moves you.
Yes.
Like, oh, that's what an amazing phrase or turn of phrase or it could be the way something makes you feel, or a color, or something. It could be anything that inspires it. But
yeah,
looking for a song title, looking for a concept all the time, and then that's step one. And step two is you got to write the thing.
Right.
You gotta. We work in an existing format, so you go, how do I get 3 minutes out of this idea?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
how do I write a couple verses and a chorus and maybe a bridge and or is that enough time?
Right.
Figuring out how to say it.
One thing, is it just me, or did songs seem to be shorter? Especially when it comes to country music. If you look at country songs from maybe back in like the 60s and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They were only like 2 minutes long, if that,
Well, yeah, that's all the time they had on the vinyl.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah.
That's really why. Otherwise you had to flip it over to listen to the 45. Like it had to be under a certain amount, so that they could ship out singles. Because if you went too long, you'd have to turn the record over in the middle of the song.
You don't want that, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's why the 60s, the songs are the length that they are.
Okay.
There were all kinds of tricks they did, like speed up the record after it's recorded, and actually I heard this Meatloaf interview where they were like, you can't hit the high notes like you used to, and he was like, that record is sped up because the songs were so long and we had to fit it on this vinyl. He's like, I've never hit those notes.
Wow.
I didn't hit them in the studio. Yeah. Because as you speed it up, the pitch of everything goes up as well. So
it goes to chipmunks.
That's right. Eventually you get to chipmunk.
Yeah. I remember I had this cassette tape when I was a kid of the Chipmunks singing and all that stuff. And I knew that my batteries were getting low on my cassette tape Walkman whenever their voices started sounding like normal people.
That's right. Okay, so I'll send you this video. It's on YouTube, and it's like the actual recording session.
Uh-huh.
It's crazy sounding.
Really?
If you're familiar with like the hula hoop or whatever.
Yes.
It's like they're like baritones and bass singers, and it's so slow and kind of creepy sounding. It's great. I'll send it to you.
You're gonna have to, because my wife makes like hats and stuff like that, and she just did this new one that has a big A on the front of it, and I keep telling her it reminds me of Alvin and the Chipmunks, and I keep singing the Please Christmas Don't Be Late, so I'm gonna have to play that for her next time I see that hat.
That's great.
So going back to something you said a minute ago, I didn't get to ask you this, but so you said you have a folder of punk rock music that you have written yourself. Will we be seeing any punk rock music come from you in the future?
Probably. At some point, I do think the truest expression of myself as an artist is what I'm doing now. You know what I mean? Like, the punk rock thing is really fun, and I like doing it, but it doesn't go all the way there for me. So I would love to release it at some point, but I don't want to confuse everybody before they know me, before they know who I am. So
I understand that.
Maybe under a different name, maybe keep an eye out for it. Maybe I'll drop some hints or something. I really moving from punk rock to country music, which actually there's more of us than you'd think, but
Uh-huh.
and it's only just now become kind of acceptable to admit that. But uh, for me, it was all about the storytelling and the lyrics, and I felt really limited in
Uh-huh.
that in the punk emo genre. It was like, well, if it's not about teen love or like, hey, don't hug me, dad,
Yeah.
then it's like that, then it doesn't quite fit. And I would listen to country songs, and it was like it was about God and death and marriage and having kids, and I was like, wow, like this is a much broader palette, and that's really what drew me into country music more than kind of the ethos of country or any specific artist, um, but more just, hey, this is a much broader form of expression to me as far as lyric goes.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so that's why I'm in country music. But maybe,
Maybe.
maybe I'll put something out. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll be looking out for that because I would love to hear it. And going with what you just said, there is I can't think of the name of them right now, but it's I actually saw them on TikTok at first, and I've seen them on Instagram now. It is a country music group, and both of the guys who are the lead singers both came from metal bands.
Wow.
Yeah, and so it's very unique. It has that southern rock feel to it more than anything, and I really love their sound. So yeah,
There's a
they're
couple of them I have in mind. I think that you're reminding me of a few different groups, but that's what they say is country's countrywide, man. Everybody
exactly.
likes it a little bit. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Even if
yeah,
they won't admit it, they got a couple songs. They're not going to change the channel.
right. Well,
They're not going to
and
turn it off.
yep, there's I know a lot of them. Usually they're like, well, I do like Johnny Cash. Of course. How can you not
Right.
like Johnny Cash?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So I'd like to give a quick shout out to my newest sponsor for the show, Manscaped. If you're anything like me and you get a little bit nervous when it comes to manscaping or trimming things on your body because you're scared that you might nick something or cut something off, then this is the product for you. I know from experience that this works. They have the skin safe technology on the Lawnmower 4.0, and I don't have to worry about having that problem anymore of hurting myself when I'm trying to manscape. So they have that along with many other products. I also have the Weed Whacker, which is good for getting the hair out of your ears and hair out of your nose. It's just great products. They work really well. The Lawnmower 4.0 is actually waterproof, so if you would prefer to use that in the shower, you can. It works amazing. If you guys want to, you can go to Manscaped and get 20% off plus free shipping if you use the promo code DADPOD20 at manscaped.com. Once again, like I said, go out, get these products. They actually work. I use them and they work amazing. Go to manscaped.com and use the promo code DADPOD20. Whenever you're getting up on stage and stuff, do you get nervous still?
I think there's a good kind of nervous I get really excited about it.
Uh-huh.
Um, I'm always a little bit surprised when I have that kind of fear,
Yeah.
nervous.
Yep.
I used to get stage fright
Mm-hmm.
the first couple times I tried to perform. I like froze like a deer in headlights. There like this was like in the fifth grade talent show or fourth grade talent show or something.
Yeah.
And but I've always been compelled to do it.
Yes.
It's one of those things. It's one of those weird things where it's like
Your
even
need
when
to
it
do
did,
it outweighs
yeah,
your anxiety. Yeah. I
that's
get
right.
that.
And even when it didn't go well, I've never really considered not doing it again. And
Yeah.
so basically what it feels like to me is it feels a lot like game day, waiting in the tunnel to go out on the field and do
Hmm.
something that you practiced, what you're doing, you were excited to go do it. It's like I really look at this music thing as a gift.
Hmm.
Um, and I've got this gift in whatever measure, and that's the time and ability to create this stuff. It's uh having the actual songs themselves. I mean, the way I look at it is releasing these songs or getting on stage, it's an opportunity to give people something that I hope they need,
Right.
I hope is making their life better. And if I can get out of the headspace of, gosh, I got to get up there and look so cool, that's really not what it's about. And when I get there, I do get nervous when it's like, I gotta be this or be that. Versus I'm going up there and we're going to have a great time together, and I'm just going to host a party, and I'm going to give them this music that I've got, and hopefully they love it, and if they hate it, that's fine. And also that's kind of weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, hey, I baked a cake. Do you want a piece? Oh, I hate that kind of cake. It's like, okay. You don't need to yell.
Yeah, exactly.
But that to me, that's kind of where music lives. And when I can make it about a gift that I'm giving other people versus something that's kind of serving my ego, I'm a lot happier on stage.
Yeah. Man, I love hearing everything that you're saying. You're a very down to earth guy, and I love seeing that. I've talked to certain people when it comes to music in the past, and nobody that I've had on the show, everybody that I've had on here have been super awesome. But I've went to certain concerts and things like that, and talked to different ones afterwards and things like that. And you can tell that they've let it go to their head. And I can tell that you are a very down to earth guy. And it's refreshing to actually see that.
I would love to have enough success that it could go to my head. At this point, at this point, I'm down to earth just by default.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I
know.
The point of view on that is something I've thought long and hard about, and there are times when it goes to my head, and honestly, music isn't that fun when it does. It really, it's crazy how fast it goes from like, I'm having so much fun doing this with my friends, for this audience. And when it turns into kind of this insecure, I hope I'm good enough thing, man, it's like hitting the, emergency brake. It screeches to a halt. So thank you for saying that. I hope to be down to earth.
Yeah. So do you have anybody that you would like to maybe tour with, like a goal? Do you have a specific person in mind that you're like, I want to be on tour with them?
I think I have like the completely unrealistic answer, the unrealistic answer, and then maybe a couple realistic ones.
I would love to hear them all.
Yeah, so I think at the top has got to be Springsteen. I just want to see his show every night. I want to watch the magic of how Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band just kind of conduct this emotional narrative, for 3 hours sometimes.
Yeah.
So I would love to be around that. I think that's the super unrealistic. The unrealistic one is probably Keith Urban. I just really like him.
Yeah.
When I've heard him interviewed, he seems down to earth and seems really thoughtful, and he rocks. So I'd like to be around him too. Realistically, and this is probably, still unrealistic. I want to play in front of those big arena crowds, Luke Combs and anybody that's kind of playing those bigger shows. I would love to go out and see what that's like.
Yeah.
I played a few bigger shows, but I've never had a tour where it was like night after night. I'd love to get sick of arenas. People always say you get sick of arenas. It's like, oh, it's not that fun, man. I'm like, well, it's got to be all right,
Right.
So yeah, I would love the chance to have a bus and tour arenas. That's part of the dream for me, for sure.
Yeah. And speaking of that, dude, Luke Combs is a monster when it comes to coming out with new songs here lately. Just over the COVID era, I guess you could say, he was just busting songs out left and right. And I mean, you have been obviously too. I mean, you've came out with, I think you said, was it 8 new songs that you've come out with since 2021?
Yeah.
So I mean,
yeah, but he's done a couple albums. He's done a couple full albums.
Yeah, and so how do you make the time for all of that and have a family?
I think that's tough. I think
Yeah.
it's tough to find the balance. I also think, um, at some point I'd love to. I do produce all my own stuff, and I like it a lot. So I
Hmm.
don't know if this is a true statement that I would like to hand the production off to someone else. Uh, if I could write them,
Hmm.
tell somebody my ideas, and then come back to sing, and then do that a couple times a week. That would be
Right.
fun,
Yeah.
or that would be one way to have fun at it. I do love kind of finding the different parts and stuff, but Luke Combs has done a great job of, Dolly Parton said at one point, figure out who you are and then do it on purpose. Like Luke Combs does that really well. And a lot of what's happening with me through this process of releasing singles is I'm kind of, I've like you, I've been in bands for a lot of years. I've been a writer. I've been a sideman even on the road with other artists.
Hmm.
But as a solo artist, I think I'm still kind of figuring out who I am. And I'm still kind of I think I'm showing different aspects of myself and just kind of figuring out as I go. And but I do think Luke Combs has done a great job of like when you go to Luke Combs kind of where he's living. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Uh so he's done a great job with that.
He has. Yeah. So I know you're still fairly new in this with the country music and things like that. Do you have any advice for people who are trying to get to the point where you are right now? For any of the new up and comers?
That's it's such a flattering question. Thank you for asking that. Uh it's humbling me to kind of look back at where I've been and where I am now because I have covered some ground.
Hmm.
Um, and realizing that it's really cool and humbling. But I think as far as advice, I do hesitate to give advice, but write the songs. Don't wait would be a piece of advice. I think
Yeah.
as creative people, we want to do 150 rough drafts and
Right.
until it's just perfect and what people are coming to see is you.
Hmm.
um you do have to have a good song, but you know from my experience, the reason you come to a Charlie Berry show is not because, oh gosh, the snare drum sounded perfect on the record. It's something, there's something in the essence of a human being and a performer that you go uh to absorb and to be
Right.
around and to witness. And so I would say you kind of you to somebody just coming to town, you probably have more magic than you think.
Hmm.
So just put the songs out, and if it doesn't work, do it again and keep writing, keep your head down, get better at what you do, be a nice person, be yourself, etc.
I love it. I love it.
That was a lot of advice for someone who just said he doesn't give advice.
Well, I mean, the thing is there is you are at a certain point beyond what some of the people first starting are at. I mean, you get. I saw on Spotify, you get around 25,000 listeners a month. So, you do have a following, and I believe that that's just going to grow from there. So, you do have that advice that you can give because uh, you know, there's a kid out there that might hear this and wants to know, well, what do I have to do to be able to get those 25,000 listeners? So yeah, you have the advice, man, and I love being able to talk to you about this, and because one day, when you are at the big star and you're playing with Springsteen and all that, then you can come back and look at this and be like, yeah, that's how I got to that point.
Yeah,
So you like how I put it in
yeah,
there because that
I
Springsteen's going to
do.
happen. Yes.
I
So
do. I like it.
so do you have any hobbies that you like to do outside of your music?
Well, so to be candid with the listeners, I was 30 minutes late to this interview.
Yep.
Even though it's pre-recorded or whatever.
Uh huh.
I was painting my house. So I do a lot of like DIY projects. The studio that I record in, I built it. Um, I've built sheds and added on rooms and all kinds of stuff. So
Okay.
uh I do love that DIY. I love a good trip to Home Depot.
There you go.
Uh And yeah, started running recently. That's
Really?
never really been a thing for me. Started running.
Okay.
Uh, just had to do something,
Yeah.
Had to get back to it. Like I said earlier, I think I did. I played football, played all the way through college,
Mm-hmm.
and so physical activity has been a big part of my life. And honestly, it's been replaced by like making TikTok videos this year. So like I was like, okay, something about my priorities is not working here. So I started running again.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get that. And what college did you actually go to?
I went to SMU, Southern
SMU.
Methodist.
Okay. All right. Well, you've done a couple of interviews that are on Spotify that I've seen as well, and one of them
Cool.
that I saw, there was somebody that was saying that you kind of had a Brett Young sound to you a little bit. Have you heard that before, or have there been any other ones that you've kind of been, I guess, said that you sound like?
I'm usually when someone says, "Hey, you sound like this," I say, "Do you like that person?" And if they're like,
Yeah.
"Yeah," then I'm like, "Oh, thanks." Uh, you know, I get Old Dominion a lot
Okay, I can hear that. Yeah.
with my voice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah, I've gotten a few through the years. I think that was maybe the only time I've gotten Brett Young,
Okay.
but yeah, Old Dominion's the only one I can think of right now
Which
that I've
that's a
gotten.
good one to be for that to be said. Old Dominion's
Yeah,
awesome.
I'm a fan of theirs. So when somebody says that, I'm like, I'm doing something right. That's good.
Yeah. Well, I know, so that makes sense now. My wife, one of her favorite country bands is Old Dominion. And whenever I played some, I was like, okay, this is somebody who's going to be coming on my show. I want you to hear some of their music because I think you'd like it. And she absolutely loved it. So that makes
Good.
sense. She was like, yeah, why is he not on the radio right now? So it's and I know I'm saying a lot of things on here that's probably sounds very flattering and things like that, but it's the truth. You do have that
It
sound.
is flattering.
You do have that
Thanks, man.
sound that should be out there, and I will be somebody who is a fan of yours and until the very end. I love your music, and
Thanks, man.
so does my wife. So yeah, the Old Dominion, I do hear that though.
Well, did you hear someone? Is that why you asked? Did you hear? Do you hear someone in my voice or in my music or something?
So the thing is for me, your voice did have a very unique sound, and I couldn't figure out who it was that I was thinking of. But when you said that, I was like, yeah, that's it. That's the one that I've been
Yeah,
trying to figure it out. So yeah,
yeah.
that worked out great.
Every now and then somebody will be like, "Oh, I heard your song on the radio." I'm like, "Nah, it's probably Old Dominion."
Probably Old Dominion. I mean, your style is very a lot like theirs, and I think that that's where the Brett Young thing came from because some of your songs sound very much in that style as well. And then another one that I thought of was Brothers Osborne. For some reason, they came to mind
Oh,
as
nice.
another one with the style that you have. And
Yeah.
I saw them in concert live with Miranda Lambert, and they put on a great show.
Oh man, they're awesome.
Yeah, they
They're
are.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and John is an incredible guitar player.
Hmm.
Absolutely incredible.
Yes. We're about to come up on a close on this, and before I do that, do you have any words to your fans that you would like to tell them?
Gosh. Yeah. Honestly, I'm just really grateful. I'm just really grateful that people are listening. I'm
Yeah.
grateful that the songs mean something to people. And that's my hope when when I create the songs is that they'll uh go, have a life of their own beyond me. And
Right.
everybody that's listening is uh in a way kind of finishing my songs. It's like a song's not finished until someone else hears it, and it's like it's a really satisfying end to a creative process to have somebody enjoy it. And so thank you. Thank you.
All right, man. And if people want to follow you or they want to follow what you're doing, how can they do that?
Everything's linked on the website
Hmm.
charlieberrymusic.com.
Okay.
I'm at Charlie Berry Music on all platforms except Twitter. I'm C Berry Music
Okay.
because Charlie Berry Music was too long.
All right.
Made me cut it down.
One other question that I wanted to ask you: do you have a specific place that you have a goal of playing at? I know some people say Madison Square Garden is one that they want to do, or you were saying arenas and things like that. So what is your pinnacle, your peak that you want to go to play at?
I heard the other day that they're going to put a hotel on the moon. Honestly, I'd play the lounge.
Yeah.
I'd play the lounge up there. Yeah. To me, it's obviously Madison Square Garden is the most kind of prestigious arena gig because it's in New York City and all the history there. But now watch that Foo Fighters documentary where they played Wembley Stadium.
Uh-huh.
That sounds pretty good to me. That seems pretty cool.
Yeah. That would be really cool. I haven't got to watch that documentary yet, but I do want to watch it.
The truth of the matter is too, I love playing those old theaters. I love playing dirty rock clubs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sad that the Exit Inn in Nashville is closing. So I know that there is appeal to the larger stadiums, but I really do love those smaller, sweaty rock club shows too. So
yeah,
coming soon to a sweaty club near you.
Well, it's a more intimate feel, I would think.
Yeah, you can see people's faces. You're kind of breathing the same air, for better or for worse. Versus this kind of like a disconnected, like we're playing music in a closet and you're watching us feeling. But
right.
Like I said, I would love the chance to get sick of that.
Yeah,
well.
I totally get that. So, last thing, do you have anything coming up that you would maybe like to announce, or anything that's coming up that you're excited about that maybe you want to talk about?
I'm such a terrible planner. I so wish that I had something to be like, and here's what I'm doing next. I'm going to put out, I have a couple ideas.
Uh-huh.
I've got a couple songs that I'm thinking about. There will always be the next song that I put out. I would like to do some kind of acoustic something.
Oh.
Maybe of songs that I've already put out. Just put out an acoustic version, maybe a little EP or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Would be fun. So if anyone hears this, whoever hears this, if you want that, let me know if that sounds like something that you would like.
All right. Well, man, it has been wonderful talking to you. I've had a blast, and even though you were 30 minutes late, which is totally fine, I had a wonderful time talking to you.
Oh man, thank you for being so gracious with my lateness, and I've had fun too, man. Thank you.
All right. Well, you have a great night.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye. All right, everybody, and as a special treat, here is the latest single from Charlie Berry, It's Still Here.
Do you remember that sidewalk where me and you wrote our names in a heart? You remember that stop sign that I ran the night I wrecked my car? It feels like a million years, but it's still here. That rock and roll club where my first band used to play for free. That Texaco, they never even checked my fake ID. For skull cans and cheap beer, it's still here. It always hits me like a bullet when I cross that line. Swear it gets me going crazy, stepping back in time. Like nothing's changed, and it's just the way it was. When we were young and trying to find a place to belong, we found each other down the middle of a dead end road. Like it far enough away, the feeling disappears. But every time gets me going crazy, stepping back in time like nothing's changed. And it's just the way it was, like I never left town, and we never broke up. When we were young and trying to find a place to be alone, we found each other down the middle of a dead-end road. If I get far enough away, the feeling disappears. But every time I come back, it's still here. It's still here.
All right, everybody. I hope that you enjoyed that episode with Charlie Berry. He was an amazing guest. He was a lot of fun to talk to. And as you heard him say, he was running a little bit behind whenever he came on the show. He was super nice, super apologetic about doing that. And yeah, it makes all the difference in the world when you have somebody as down to earth and nice as he is on the show. And I was really glad to have him on. And I look forward to having him on again in the future. Maybe one day when he gets to do that show with Springsteen, we can have him come back on and we can reflect on what's happened over this amount of time. Because I do feel that he has the ability to get to that place. So, as you're listening to this, you know that there is 2 episodes that come out this week. There was this one with Charlie Berry, and then I also have one coming out this week with Johnny Cove. He is a independent wrestler in the area, and I have him coming on because he is also known as the Mullet Daddy. And I am trying to help promote a show for Crown Championship Wrestling that is in Siloam Springs on October 22nd. And so in the spirit of what they are going to have, which is a mullet contest, I'm bringing on the Mullet Daddy himself. So I hope that you enjoyed that episode that is coming up. Then next week I have with me Richard Pierce. He is from Wrestling for a Cause. I really look forward to having him on and talking with him. I feel that it's going to be a great episode. And then the week after that, I have Countrywide. They are a unique country band that I am very much looking forward to having on as well. So, yeah, that's a couple of the episodes that I have that are coming up. I am excited about what is going on. I'm excited about the future for the show. As I told you last week, I have some really cool stuff that's coming up, and one of them was that I am joining a podcast network. I am now available on the OIW podcast network. I've gotten to talk with some of these guys that are on there and the guy who created it, and they were wonderful people, and I am very excited to be a part of the OIW podcast network. I'm excited to see what happens next. So if you guys want to send me an email, you can do so by sending me an email at giveadatapodcast@gmail.com. If you have any questions or concerns or comments, or if you want to ask a guest a question on one of these episodes, feel free to send me a line on there, or you can look me up on social media. I am on Facebook, and that's at IYGADAP. That is, If You Give a Dad a Podcast, or as I like to say, IGADAP. You can also find me on Instagram, and that's at Give a Dad a Podcast. And I'm also on Twitter, and that's at DadPodcast11. Find me on any of those places. You can follow me there. I will keep you up to date on everything that's going on with the show. If anything new is coming up, that would be the place where I would probably let you know first, is there. So just go out there and follow me. And also, as you're listening to this, go to the top of the page if you're on Spotify or whatever you're on, and rate and review this episode. Let me know what you think about this show. Let me know if you like it. Let me know if you don't. Give it a 5-star, give it a 4-star, give it a 1-star. Whatever you think that this deserves, just rate it and let me know how I'm doing with this show, whether you like what I'm doing or whether you don't. And lastly, what I would like to do is I would like to give a shout out to my sponsors for the show. There is R&L Design, who makes all of your custom hats, and they make tumblers and all kinds of stuff. You see me post about it on Facebook all the time, trying to get their stuff out there. They have really good quality merchandise, and they make custom stuff. I've seen stuff come in that people said, hey, can you put this picture on a t-shirt for me? And they've been able to do it, and their stuff always turns out really good. If you like the bleached shirts, I know that's really popular. They have the bleached shirts that you can do as well, and Christmas is coming, so they do have some Christmas items that are coming up as well. So check them out, R&L Designs, and their Facebook page is R&L Designs 19. Instagram is the same, R&L Designs 19. Or, just hit them up. Tell them what you want. And thank you to them for being such a great sponsor for my show. They've been with me since the very beginning, and I do really greatly appreciate that. I also have Manscaped, who is doing a promo code for me right now, and that is DadPod20. And what that does is that gives you 20% off all of your purchase that you do, whether it's just the lip balm or whether it's some of the other products they have, or if you want the lawnmower, which works amazing. I've used it and it works really well. It takes that nervous feeling away from you. I know y'all heard me say that earlier, but go and look them up. Use the promo code DADPOD20 at manscaped.com to get 20% off of your purchase plus free shipping. Yeah, thank you to Manscaped. Thank you to R&L Designs. Y'all are both awesome. Thank you for supporting the show. And to all my listeners who have been supporting the show, thank you. I appreciate everything that you guys do for me, and I can't wait to bring you guys more episodes. So yeah, I'm going to bring the show to a close. I love you guys. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you next time. Bye. If you enjoyed our show, come back next week. Come on, guys. You know you want to come back. Might get some laughs.
This podcast is part of the OIW Podcasting Network.